I am here with Cardesha Lyons, and Cardesha, you're a level two Ask a Certified Coach in Trinidad and Tobago. Can you tell me a bit about your swimming background?
Sure. Hi. My swimming background started when I was just a toddler, 3 years old. Just for the exact reason every parent would want their child to learn to swim for safety reasons. The coach at the point in time after learning to swim recognized that I had some talent. So we got into it more at a competitive level. So I've been a competitive swimmer since the age of 8, right? Myself
Mhm.
and my siblings, I come from a swimming family, right? So that's the basic background in me just getting into swimming. Yeah.
Okay. How did that progress into you be owning your own swim school?
Funny story. So when I was in high school, we call it secondary school in Trinidad and Tobago, we had a swim team, which my dad was the coach for the swim team. So it became like a hassle for him to show up to the pools every afternoon to coach the swim team. So he made a point. He was like, Kadisha, um, I don't need to come to this if you know the information as well. So you will now become the coach of your own swim team. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yes, I believe you have it in you. So I mean, it's funny, but I basically was coaching my fellow classmates. So that was my first taste of being a swim coach. And I remember being in school, like right before the bell rang, I'm like writing down workouts, trying to figure out like the best thing for them. Thinking back, it was so exciting. I'm like, Kanisha is really not that serious. So that basically was my first taste into it. And then, well, as I said, I grew up around the pool. The pool's my second home. So being a competitor swimmer, just being around the pool, also the fact that my mom was an administrator, so we spent a lot of time by the pool, not just swimming, but just being around. So I would jump in when they have the swim classes, um, and help out demonstrate and stuff. So that was also another taste into me getting into learn to swim until they gave me my own classes, right? So that was what I did during when I was in high school, coaching my swim team, my high school team, and then at the pool for club level and learn to swim. For the learn to swim portion, I would jump in and help out and then sometimes have my own classes. Fast forward, went to college abroad, came back, right? Trying to figure out what it is I want to do in my life. In the meantime, Kadesha, make some money, go teach some classes, teach some swimming classes. Um, so that evolved into something bigger because I would go, not sure if I said it before, but I would go by other person's home who
Mhm.
have pools at their home and I would teach them to swim. And then that developed into something where persons who didn't have their own pool wanted me to teach to swim. So when given the opportunity to use someone's pool, wave kind of formed into that. And I ended up opening 3 locations all at once with myself and my sister just running back and forth to locations. And we've we started off with, I think that first term, so that first term, first 3 months, we started off with like 50
Oh,
swimmers.
wow.
Yeah, we started off with 50 swimmers combined with all the 3 locations.
Mhm.
And I think by the end of the year, we were at 100. By the year two, it climbed to like 300.
That's
We're just over
incredible. Oh my
300
gosh.
now. So now I'm trying to ooze out of like the being in the pool all the time. So we've hired more coaches and stuff. So we're building and slowly getting there.
That's awesome. When you first
Yeah.
started up and you had three locations, was it location one on like Monday, Tuesday, location two, Wednesday, Thursday, or how did you manage three
Yeah.
locations with you and your sister?
So it was basically my sister and myself. So we would, exactly what you said. So like location one, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, location two, Tuesday, Thursday, location three, just Saturdays only. And then I would pay attention to which location was given more traction and, just pay attention to the demographics of the area, how many people living in that area. So then I would notice that even though I'm in this location, I also need to be at that location as well. So that's where we brought in more coaches.
Mhm.
So we could have coaches, we have some coaches at multiple locations. To be honest, in the earlies, it would have times where we would be at one location in the morning and we have to fly down to the other location. And we taking our lunch break in the car on the way to there to get to the next location. So we worked really, really hard um at the beginning. I remember one
Hmm.
time during, I think it was like Easter break, so I guess you'll call that spring break. We did clinics. So we did one location from like 9 to 12, and the next location from like we ran to our next location and we did like 12 to 2 or 12 to 3, and then we ran to our next location. We did
Oh
like
my
four to
gosh.
six. So we did like three locations in a day. So when I say we work hard,
Oh my
we
gosh.
we worked
Yeah.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. How far away were your locations from each other?
Trinidad is small, so it's not far, but Trinidad has a lot of traffic,
Okay.
right? So we would a lot of times we'd be driving during traffic hours. So sometimes it would
Hmm.
take us an hour to get from one to the next, half an
Oh my
hour from one
gosh.
to the next. Yeah. So then and then traffic, we beat it. We're trying to figure out which route to take to not because we have a thing about timeliness. So I don't want to use traffic as a reason for not reaching on time because there's always traffic. So we should plan for it. So it was a lot of high
Definitely.
anxiety, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a getting places 15 minutes at the very least before I have to be there type of person, so
Yeah.
I
My
understand.
coaches, my coaches learned the lesson the hard way, knowing that they have to show up 15 to 30 minutes before their classes start. They tend to show up 30 minutes before. And I say they learned the hard way because at the beginning, they recognized they showed up on time and that wasn't good.
How do you like so our coaches sometimes we ask them to be 15 minutes early so we can have our meeting and get set up. How do you
Yeah.
train your coaches to get there 15 to 30 minutes early and they end up being 30 minutes early? What do you guys do before class?
I believe that you have to lead by example. So
Hmm.
in addition to us putting it in their contract that you need to be there 15 minutes early,
Yeah.
right? In addition to that, again, I believe you need to lead by example. So I show up. I like to show up before my coaches show up. So I try to show up 30 minutes before, right? A lot of times they tend to show up the same time as me, which
Hmm.
is fine, right? What it is we instill in them is basically telling them I tell them I get there early to settle my mind, settle because you're doing so many things during the day, you're so busy. So when you
Hmm.
need to sit down and just relax for a bit, you know? So, but beyond me telling them that, I've noticed they themselves prefer to do it. I'm not saying we've had coaches in the past who no longer work with us, who would reach late. To be honest, I just when it came time to renew their contract, we just didn't, right? Because ideally,
Hmm.
I want people who are on the same. I don't want to force someone to do something if they don't believe in it. And
Yeah.
if that means it's not best for you to work with us, we're all still on all good terms, but we just don't blend. So the
Yeah.
coaches, I was just telling one of my other coordinators who work with us, I was like, I really, really like the team I have this time around because everybody's on the same page, same wavelength. So to answer your question, how I get coaches to, show up 30 minutes before, it takes a while, but you find people on the same wavelength and mindset as you.
Yeah. Like minds
Yeah.
come together.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So one other like a little question that's a little off topic, but before we started recording, we were talking about how you got into lessons, and you said your private lessons were just unstable. How did you introduce stability into your program when you started it as like an official as Wave when you started Wave? What were things you did to
Okay.
make sure it was stable?
So what it is I could probably explain is what I mean by unstable and what it is
Hmm.
I made sure that I did what I'm doing now to not make it as unstable. So when I say my private lessons were unstable, it was predominantly where I would go to their homes and teach and I would get paid whenever I go. Right. So one, I would be getting paid each day per day, right?
Hmm.
But the problem arise where it would have times, which is understandable, where they would need to cancel a class, right? Whether it is they're sick, whether it is they're just going away or they're flying out,
Hmm.
whatever the case is. So I would be obviously checking that I would be making that money on that day. And then they would call last minute, or not last minute sometimes, probably a week before and be like, we can't make it. So I'm like, crap, how am I going to,
Yeah.
make make money, make back that money. So
Hmm.
that was something other than the lovely flexibility the private lessons had. That was my main thing because if I am to make a living and eat and feed
Yeah.
myself and stuff, I need to figure out how to make stable income, knowing that a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, I know that I'm gonna have money. So when I started Wave, one of the things I did was that people signed up for a term. So a term is like 12 weeks, right? So
Hmm.
the persons know when they sign up for us, they sign up for our lessons, you're signing up for 12 weeks, so it works out to be about 3 months. So that means I know I have at least 3 months of income
Mm,
coming in,
yeah.
right? So that was one thing. And then the other thing was when persons tell us that they're going to miss a class, right? They, so a lot of times in the least, they would be like, well, I want my money back or I want my class back or whatever the
Hmm.
case is, right? But we have clear terms where it is, we telling them when you book for the cycle, right, you're reserving a spot. So even if you're not there, you're paying for a reservation, right?
Yeah. That
So
someone else couldn't fill.
that's someone else, right? So you're paying for a reservation. So if you're sick or if anything, you're not entitled to get back your class or money. However, I do try my best because ideally I want everybody to get as much classes as possible, right? We do accommodate them once we can, most times we can. So if we have like a opening of a coach doesn't have a summer that day, but the coach is scheduled to work, we would say come in and we'll give you back your class. So just setting clear guidelines to just ensure that we are always able to, benefit
Yeah.
and still taking into consideration that it is life and sometimes persons can't make it, but so we try our best to accommodate them where we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's making sure you're like protecting yourself, but also like still wanting to
correct.
help your
Yeah,
community.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Um, in terms of helping your community, I found this adorable little video of a 4-year-old on your Instagram who jumped into the water and swam to the other side of the pool doing rollovers, which is one of our like safety skills that we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
And making it across the pool just beautifully. I don't even know if she was 4 years old, but she
Hmm.
looked little. Like it looked so cool. How do you
I
practice
think
safety
I know who you're
skills?
talking. I think she's like 3.
Oh my gosh, that's even better.
Yeah.
How do you like practice and like implement your safety skills into your classes?
I mean, funny enough, like I saw this question when you asked me earlier. Um, my thought process was I just followed the Swim America program. Like there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
Literally, it's a step, literally, the Swim America program is a step-by-step program where you teach foundational skills and you build on those foundational
Hmm.
skills to be able to get to that level. So to teach a rollover, like if we have to break down the Swim America program, first thing they have to learn is breath control because if they're rolling over front to back, they have to know when to blow the air out and when to breathe, right?
Hmm.
You blow out when you're underwater, you breathe when you're above. So that's the first thing. The next thing, the Swim America program, that's station 2, you teach body positioning. You know,
Yeah.
they teach body positioning. You teach them how to be on top of the water. You know, after
Hmm.
that you teach tricks. So, and then from station, and then that's station 3, station 4, amongst many other things in station 4, you teach rollover. So you just put it together. So
Yeah.
when I'm teaching a child to roll over, I'm like, so you're gonna blow bubbles and kick to me, and you're gonna go on your back. And they're like, Coach, I don't know how to do that. And I would simply tell them, you know how to float on your back, you know how to float on your front, right?
Hmm.
So I'd be like, when you swim to me on your front, just go on your back and float. You know,
Yeah.
I I simply follow the Super America program. I don't do anything different.
Yeah. No, I like to ask because some other programs do like 5 minutes of like dedicated safety time. And like I was wondering if that was something you did, but no, it's just built in. You just follow like the
It's built
program as it
into so
is.
this is my thing is right. It's built into the program because one of the lovely things about Super America, they give us ways, like they give us class lessons.
Hmm.
Like it's pre-written,
Yeah.
right? You don't always have to use it because I mean I used to use it in the beginning, but I kind of understand the vibe you're trying to do. So it's easy for us to write our own workouts now,
Yeah.
well, lesson plans now. But in the lesson plan, in your lesson plan, and in the rubric that you have us follow, the information is there. Let me tell you. So this is beyond just safety skills. It's just swim America on a whole.
Hmm.
When we just started our program, because we have a competitive swim background, we saw the program and we just like, okay, let's just do the advancement goals. And then we did the advancement goals. We put children are rushing, going through these stations really pretty quickly. And then we realized that any higher stations, we were getting problems. So this is during COVID, because we had time
Hmm.
during COVID. My sister and I sat down and we were like, let us actually just pay attention to what they're telling us in the syllabus and do every single thing in each station. Like we would
Hmm.
blitz through sitting on the board and sculling in station 3. We would have blitzed through finning on the back for
Hmm.
station 4. But now that we make it a priority, we make each step in each level, each station a priority. It's so much easier to teach the higher stations. It's so much easier for the child to understand
Hmm.
to understand what we mean in the higher stations. Like, I know I'm going a little tangent here, but
No,
like, for
no, it's
example,
great.
in teaching like the backstroke, right? Do you know when you do backstroke, there's a bent
Hmm.
elbow, you have to bend the elbow a little bit to pull, right?
Yeah.
But so what, before you learn backstroke in some America, you teach finning, right? So when I'm teaching backstroke now, I'm like, when you're doing backstroke, make your stroke and fin when you're pulling. And they're like, okay, that makes sense. Funny
Yeah.
enough, I actually went to my dad. My dad runs our competitive swim team, and he had a swimmer who he found wasn't pulling properly underwater. She didn't learn the Swim America program. She learned some other program. I'm not sure which one. Right? So he
Yeah.
was like, Cardesha, please fix it. So I went back to basics. I taught her finning, right? I taught her head first sculling. And I created a drill where she would incorporate finning into her backstroke. And she said she felt so much faster.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. I've never
if
thought of it that way. That's a great way to explain a backstroke
yeah,
pull.
correct. So basically, I honestly just follow the Swim America program. I don't do anything different,
No,
you know?
that's so cool to hear. I love hearing that.
Yeah,
It's, I mean, we all think it's the best program for a reason, and like you're
it
getting the
is.
results you want. Yeah.
It is. Which is funny. I got a lot of questions from new persons who interested in our program. They're like, I'm interested in my child learning to swim. Do you all also teach survival skills? Because they would pay attention to other programs that highlight survival swimming, right? And I
Hmm.
am usually stumped when they ask this question because I'm like, if I'm teaching your child to swim, and they obviously learning how to survive as well.
Yeah. Wouldn't they? Then they're
So
learning to swim so they'll stay alive.
exactly. But I love the South America program. Survival technique, that 10-step program where it is in addition to technique, I like that the somewhat in the higher levels, the advancement goes is like laps because endurance and conditioning is very important into
Hmm.
having good technique.
Yeah, for sure. 'Cause we find like some of our easy.
That's actually something is a bit challenging for us trying to explain to parents why lap swimming or like swimming under pressure is important because you're like, it's just learn to swim, we didn't sign up for all this. And I'm finding it a bit challenging to kind of explain to parents who just came for the child to learn how to roll over and save themselves,
Hmm.
to explain to them like you kind of need to have a little bit of endurance and you need to have with good technique to be able to swim safely. As swimmers say, good swimming is
It's
I can't
safe
remember the
swimming.
exact word. Yeah, yeah, good
Yeah.
like good technique in swimming is safe swimming because injuries and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Well, because if you were to fall off a boat in like the middle of a
Yeah,
lake or in the ocean, you need endurance to be able to get back to shore if the boat leaves you.
exactly. And that's what we tell
Yeah.
them. It's like when you're in trouble, you're not in trouble when it is you're relaxed. You're in trouble when you're tired and in danger. So you're gonna have that endurance to reach back to where you have to go to.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So I want to pull back something you said earlier, is that before you really sat through and like looked through the program, your kids were just going through levels super, super fast. How
yeah.
often, like what, trying to think how to word this, what is the rate you find that your kids go through levels when in your 12-week cycle? Like, do you have a kid on average going through like 3 or 4 levels a cycle, or how do you, does that question make sense? I think it's a bad
It makes a
question.
lot of sense because
Okay.
let me tell you something before I answer this question. Every program director meeting I sit down into is either I ask the question or it's raised and my ears are wide open
Hmm.
because I find it amazing to hear some other programs stating that they blitz through stations like within weeks and they graduate in like in a month or two. And I'm like, am I doing something wrong? You
Mm.
know?
No,
But
yeah.
then I heard, I think it was Rose, I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm not going to butcher it, but Summer Margaret Davis in
Hmm.
California. I remember I was telling her it, and she told me, don't stress, take your time. Not take your time as in, drag your foot, but
Hmm.
take your time, don't stress, everybody's different, they will get there. And she told me that, I
Hmm.
was like, thank you. So let me tell you why I said this, because my mom used to run her Summer Margaret program elsewhere. And when I used to teach it, I find the children used to pick up pretty quickly,
Hmm.
right? And when I started Wave and we did our Summer Market program, I remember that first term we had, first cycle, I, I remember crying after the 12 weeks. And I'm like, why are some of my kids not progressing fast?
Mm.
I was like, I don't understand. It does not make sense to me. And then what it is I recognize is everyone is different.
Hmm.
Everyone, and then beyond everyone being different in just personality, everyone is different in what they do outside of the pool, right?
Yeah.
A lot. So the pool where the area where I used to teach swimming when my mom ran her program, the children from that community is they're extremely active, right?
Okay.
They're in tons of sports. They're running outside. They're playing. They grew up near a beach, so they every weekend they're in the beach playing, even if they don't know how to swim. So when they come to learn to swim now, people think it's not swimming experience, but playing in the water is experience because that's
Hmm.
adaptability and feel for water, which is the first thing you learn in station one, right?
Yeah.
Um, and
And you learn
then
like
so
body awareness. So like you know how to
body
move your
awareness,
body better.
exactly. So I am a lot of my kids, not all, there are some who have the body awareness and they pick up pretty fast. So that question to me, I can't answer straightforward because we have a group of kids who will blitz through really, really fast and they would get through stations pretty quickly, and then they would have a term would pass, and we still struggling on station one,
Hmm.
right? One of the major factors beyond all of that I just explained is, I mean, the length of how often they swim in,
Hmm.
right? Most kids in our program swim once a week. It's going to take forever to get through that.
Hmm.
Let's be real. It's going to take
Oh yeah.
forever for you to get. It's going to take forever, right? And then we have kids who swim twice a week. They tend to pick up a bit faster. And then they have the very few of them who swim 3 times a week. They out of there within 6 months, went to the swim team,
Yeah.
right? So there are so many factors to this that I cannot give you a direct answer,
Yeah.
you know?
No, for sure. Because we have one of our sessions is in June, all 4 weeks is a different session, but we have 5 days a week, 4 weeks
Yeah,
in a row. The kids who
yeah,
do all those weeks and are like day every single day have moved so much
yeah.
faster than the kids who just
Correct.
do our
Yeah,
weekend sessions. It's
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, and to in reality, not every I understand parents can't bring their kids to swim every day, whether it
Hmm.
be for just they may be financial reasons, because
Yeah.
swimming is not a cheap sport,
No.
financial reasons, and then the other reason could just be like time. They just don't have time. So I understand that. So what I try to do during the vacation time is have like clinics, so similar to what you
Yeah.
did, like the 5 days a week. So we do that, and a lot of parents, not everyone, but the ones who can make it, they try to bring the kids in that, and they recognize that it helps. It helps a lot.
Hmm.
So you know, you just have to communicate with parents and try to have them understand. There are some who won't
Yeah,
understand and will talk badly about your program, and stay, my child is not progressing or whatever the case is. But if you're true to yourself and you understand what you're doing, just keep doing it.
yeah. It's like the
Yeah.
positive voices will drown out the negative ones.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, my last question for you, do you have any advice for new programs that are starting up?
Advice for new programs that started. Stay true to yourself. Like in the beginning, you will want to do as many things as possible. Somebody will give you an idea and you want to jump on that idea. The next idea, jump on that idea. One of the things I found that was beneficial for us is that we stayed extremely true to what it is we wanted. And if you know your mission, like many people start into some programs for many different reasons, and you need to understand your reason and drown out all the noise and understand your reason first,
Hmm.
right? Because we there are some programs who would promote safety and they would only predominantly focus on that. And there are some programs who in some programs who will think about finances. So they want to fill up their classes with a bunch of kids and they want to
Yeah.
offer not just swimming lessons, they want to offer aerobics and whatever the case is, they want to offer a bunch of things,
Hmm.
aqua therapy or whatever the case is. And I found myself with my sister and I, we have to consistently tell ourselves every term we review, and we have to be like, remember, what is our mission? What is our goal? And stick to it. So as many times people may want to give you ideas because they believe they're helping, just which is fine. You
Hmm.
and it is fine to take into consideration what they say and even apply it. But if it's not in line with what you want, you have to drown it out.
Yeah,
So pay attention to what you want for yourself out of this and go from there.
definitely. Well, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate you joining
welcome.
me.
I appreciate it as well. I love talking about the Swim America program.
Me too.